Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Presidential spokesman Ambassador Bassam Radi said that President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi followed up on the services the Presidential Decent Life Initiative offered to help the people in Aswan, especially the medical and food aid convoys. As per presidential directives, Decent Life started to renovate the homes destroyed in the area and prepared 500 homes to relocate the residents of the damaged villages. During his tour, the president met with the locals and the medical convoy launched by Decent Life, and the president visited Al Shahama village enrolled in the Decent Life initiative, a renovated school and the medical unit in the village. The Decent Life comprises a series of countryside-focused national infrastructure projects, and it was first initiated in 2019 by His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, who tasked the Ministry of Social Solidarity with developing Egypt's poorest 1,000 villages. The initiative went to monitor the needs of the affected citizens and immediately began to rebuild the damaged houses in cooperation with the concerned and partner authorities. In order to know more, we're very much delighted and honored to have with us here in the studio His Excellency Ambassador Ayoub Mahmoud Ayoub, former Minister of Commercial. Very good morning to you, Ambassador Ayoub.
Good morning to you and to the viewers.
Sir, can you talk to us about the state's initiative, Decent Life, that is currently working with the people of Aswan who were affected by the floods recently?
It is a very important initiative at this time of the year, and especially after the floods or the houses were destructed during this torrents of water coming in Aswan. It comes at a critical time because the people were much in need to a lending to a hand to be lent to them by someone. This someone was not less than the president himself. When he go there, see the people, listen to them, and copes with their needs and satisfy what they need, and also at the same time open what I call new hopes for them, that the future is stable and is bright for them. After giving them new houses, when we know that there are 5,000 villages which will be renovated and taken care of by Decent Life initiative, we find that a good number of it in Aswan, and the president himself asked that it should be given priority according to the needs of the people and what the ladies and people of the villages asked him to do, and he reciprocated, put it now and begin with the Aswan villages without delaying any other villages, the other villages, the 5,000. So this initiative is important, and it comes at a critical time, and it means that the political leadership is quite responsive to the needs of the people. And political leadership, when the president himself goes to Aswan after this disaster, the people will feel that the president is with them, is supporting them and support of to their actual needs, and lending a hand at the time of need, which will be is highly appreciated not only by these villages small in Aswan, but the other villages in Egypt, because they know that the president is there for them to help and support.
Yes. In your opinion, how can Decent Life help the people in crises as they are currently working with those suffering from the flood repercussions? So Decent Life Initiative is actually working on a schedule of upgrading the lives of people in certain villages, and at the same time helping those affected by the flash floods.
Decent Life Initiative really helps people, giving them support, badly needed support, and helping them to help themselves, changing them from consumers to producers, helping them by small or what we call microcredits to begin a small business, and at the same time helping their houses, rebuilding their houses, and supporting them with the necessary clean water and sanitary equipment, and in this way, and some electricity also, so they have the minimum to begin a decent life. That's why it is called decent life. They are giving the minimum so they can initiate. But this means that the people themselves should be working for their own welfare. The government or the initiative give them the nucleus or just the beginning, and they have to complete it and build on it so that they change their lives from takers to givers, from consumers to producers. This is something from economic point of view. This helps them raise their standard of living, and that is the goal of Decent Life Initiative, raising the standard of living of the people who are in much need at this time, especially after the Corona and the COVID-19. They need much help, and the government is taking care of them and giving them the tools to help themselves and begin new life, in a productive life. I mean, not just waiting the government to help them and support them, and they are not going to sleep like that, but they are going to work with a good and strong initiative from the government.
Yes. Sir, how do you see the housing initiative for all Egyptians and establishing a fourth generation of cities in the Sustainable Development Goals 2030?
We are in 2021 now. So the tools are different. The needs are beginning to change. The social media is giving a lot of initiatives to the people. A lot. They think of the world over. See what is happening in China or in India when there is some disasters, and what has been a couple of years ago in Ras Gharib, and NGOs stepped in to help very quickly. So the initiative help the people to help themselves, and this is something very important. But in many cases, they need the basis for that. They need the material help, I mean. When we see medical convoys are going there, also food supplies are given to them. In many cases, they are giving blankets and cloth so they can begin a new life, in a decent life, in such a way that help them. It raises hope in their lives that we can work. Now we are supported by the government. The government is not negligent or does not care, but it cares for them. It comes to them and see what they need and give them the basics, and they have to complete the job. So the government is doing its job in this respect, and the people themselves have to help themselves by making use of this nucleus or what has been given, yes, by the government to them. Yes. This is very, very important for them, that the government is helping them to help themselves. Definitely. That is very important. This is one thing. Other thing is that NGOs at the same time have a role to play, because they are the first to feel, and after that the government feels. They are the first to feel and step in, and NGOs, whatever its name is, they have to take the initiative to help the people in dire need at the time of need, until the government comes at later on. But the NGOs have a role to play, and it is very clear and very important when there are disasters. We have what we call disaster relief operations, which is very helpful when we come this and so on. By the way, every year we have torrents, and not floods, torrents. The local administration have to know in advance. It usually comes in December, January, or November, December. So they have to help the people to be better poised to face what is coming. That is not to build in the runway of these torrents or these floods. This is one thing. Other thing is that people, when there is some unemployment and some people are lost their source of income, and when the government is stepping in, it helps them to rebuild their lives. And this is the importance of the Decent Life Initiative, which began in 2019, and now we see the results. Many villages of the 5,000 villages, many of them are now taking benefit when the president himself goes to them, and we are here, the government is here, the president is here to give you support when it is needed, and the people at the same time have a role to play, to spread the word to other villages that we have to work so that we do not face these troubles again. It is very important that the people themselves have a role to play and have it is a duty for the people to help themselves. And the government does not hesitate to do the job, but the people themselves have to take care of their own life and build on it and begin to produce at least to satisfy their local needs and their house needs.
Yes. Sir, to what extent do you see the importance of the initiative Decent Life in developing housing, education, and improving the services like sports and training centers for the youth in Aswan in particular, as well as in other governorates?
When we are giving the people, first of all, the shelter. So are giving them the place so that they are protected from the sun and from the rains, and this will give them an opportunity to educate their children. When I say education, it is very important that we focus on education, building education, the amenities which are needed by the people, and at the same time medical convoys which is going there. The medical convoys which I am familiar with go there, not just doctors and pharmacists and so on, but they go to them with the instruments and implements needed and with the medicine they need, and in many cases you find that they refer them to the hospitals where they are taken care of. So the government is playing a very important role. The NGOs are doing a big job and they should be encouraged to do it and increase it in the remote areas like Aswan, El Arish, and the Marsa Matruh, this remote area, and El Wahat and the Siwa, where medical convoys have been there several times, and they helped many people to live a decent life by giving them the basics which they are in much need of, and one of it is the shelter. The government is building 500 houses in Aswan only, in Aswan and Rao. The same is happening elsewhere, but the people themselves have to take care of what they have got from the government. They use it properly and in a productive way so that they can live a decent life, and the government is helping them to help themselves. That is to say, the people have a role to play to cooperate with each other so that they raise their own standard of living. In many cases, they need money. What we give them is microcredits, a very small amount of money in which they can use to raise chicken or to raise poultry or to raise goats and sheep. And in this way, we are creating a source of permanent source of income for them to live on, so that they don't only extend their hands. We need support. We need support. Now support yourselves. You have the initiative was given by the government, and you have to complete the job yourselves and spread the word that we need to cooperate together in production and in marketing and in consumption, the wise consumption, that is proper consumption. We cannot disperse our limited resources on unnecessary needs of the people, like the mobiles and so on. People are sometimes, they misuse the support of the government, and in many cases they have to be educated well. When we say literacy lessons, we are giving literacy classes, we are giving to the women in the countryside, so we are raising the standard of thinking, of thought, of how they think, how they face the future, how they can find child spacing, and in this, these are very important. One of the very important results of the decent life is that we are educating people to take care of their own lives. When we are giving them literacy lessons, especially for the women, they can take care for their own health and find that many children is not a must and not preferable, but it should be things which should think twice or thrice before they have more children, so that they keep the present children in a better state from health-wise and from education and from the food itself.
Yes. To what extent can the Decent Life initiative help in eradicating illiteracy and at the same time providing job opportunities for the youth?
The two things, literacy and employment, are two faces of the same coin. When we are teaching the women and teaching the girls and teaching the boys and giving them literacy lessons, so they are better able to understand, to cooperate and use the available resources in a proper way. This is one thing. Other thing is that when we are giving them marketing access to the market for their products, it encourages them to increase and multiply their production facilities. Third thing is that in many cases they need to be educated. We give them education through the literacy lessons. Literacy lessons is not only, I have done it, not only literacy, but we bring doctors to teach the women how they can take care of their children. The ophthalmologists for how do they take care of their eyes.
Awareness.
It is a public awareness for them. It is very important because literacy only is good.
Yes.
But it is also to create awareness for especially for the ladies, for the women, that how to live in a better way and raise their children in a better way. So the literacy lessons which we are giving to the families, and also the production facilities, small production facilities which are offered to them, help them to raise their standard of living. That is the goal. The final goal is how to raise the standard of living of the people through the government and through their own hands to work properly and in a productive way.
Yes. Well, Ambassador Ayoub, former Minister Commercial, I'd like to thank you very much for being with us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more coming up here on this edition of The Breakfast Show.